There was a time when I was reading tarot live via a page on Facebook, a tarot fans page, and you had to take a little tarot exam and you'd be kind of like accredited. Then you'd be one of the accredited readers on this page, and then you could go on and you could do your live channeled through this Facebook page. And the page had quite a lot of reach. It was quite popular. And I would go online and I was immediately connected to a very big audience just across the whole world. And so it was very much being out in the market square, it was being available to absolutely everyone. And during this time, well, there were certain things that came up. There were so many people asking about, what does this person feel about me? That old chestnut, which in itself is not very suitable probably for tarot readers to answer. But there were a lot of people asking yes/no questions, For example, will I get pregnant this year? Will this person ask me to marry them? Will I get the job? Will I move house? Am I on the right track? I mean, there are so many things it could have been, but they were phrased as yes/no questions. Now, it has probably occurred to you that it's not very interesting to do yes/no questions as a tarot reader, and it probably isn't even the function of divination to give answers like that. Some of the earliest oracles that we know of, for example, the oracle at Delphi in ancient Greece, didn't give yes/no answers, gave quite cryptic answers, and furthermore, didn't really claim to foretell the future. The oracle was actually there to help people live their lives in accordance with the gods, whatever that meant. And I think to us that would mean to be in the flow, to be in tune with either the universe or with your own heart or with the heart of the universe, whichever way you want to think about it. And if you are in tune, then even if you don't always get what you want, things are going to feel better and more fulfilling. And you probably will live a better life. And this is really what I think we should be using tarot for. So, as a tarot reader, and I'm talking about reading for other people, especially professionally, when you're asking for money, there's this question of what do you do when people ask yes/no questions? And no matter how much you say, on your web page or on your post, no yes/no questions, people will always ask yes/no questions because that's just how the human brain works. That's just how language works. Now, I get a lot of my inspiration from a lady in Brighton who was my tarot reader back in the old days, and she was absolutely brilliant. She was infinitely patient. I went back again and again and again. I was very lost in those days. I didn't know what I was doing, and I kept asking and asking and asking. And she just kept on reading her cards, and it was extremely helpful and it was extremely supportive. And I probably asked lots of yes/no questions during that time. But she didn't sort of lay down the law. I think probably what she just did was she just ignored it, and I think that's the best strategy. So if someone asks you a yes/no question, receive the question kindly and generously. You don't need to make a speech about the oracle at Delphi. You don't need to say, oh, tarot is this or oh, tarot is that. Just get on with the job nicely, with a smile on your face, but you don't need to give a yes/no answer. If the answer you give is a good, resonant tarot answer, that's going to be worth a lot more than a yes/no. Because after all, what will a yes/no give that person? It's like tossing a coin. It'll be right or it'll be wrong. So graciously accept the question and ask yourself, okay, which of my favorite tarot spreads is going to throw most light on what is worrying this person? So if it's, will this boyfriend or girlfriend come back to me, for example, yes or no, then do a relationship spread. Put down cards, and I'll show you how this works. and have a look at what the energies in the relationship are and just discuss it. You might say, oh, look at that, that's auspicious, looks like they might be coming back, or oh dear, you don't look very compatible. Look at that person's energies, oh my goodness, I don't think they're coming back. But you don't actually have to say yes or no. If there are a lot of people involved in the question, maybe it's a family question and there's people and factors and money all buzzing around, or a family business or a business, and the person asks something like, is this going to be peacefully resolved or not? Or will we get a resolution by Christmas? Then do a 7-card horseshoe spread, which will give a little bit of space for cards to go down onto the table and for you to see what the environment's like and to see what the obstacles are like and so forth. And here's a third very reliable option. If someone wants to know, should I move to this different town, yes or no? Why not put a couple of cards down to represent the different town and a couple of cards down to represent staying where you are, and then just have a look at them and discuss it with the client. Advantages, disadvantages, I think on the whole that looks a bit better. So you're not just being mysterious and you're not just tossing a coin. Finally, a very good fallback position is the spread, which it's not really an official spread, but it's so obvious. It's just using the cards at their absolute most basic. It's what I call the what's my problem spread. I kind of formulated this myself, but it's probably the sort of spread that every tarot reader eventually formulates for themselves. And it is basically one card to define what the underlying problem or issue is, and then 1, 2, or 3 cards above that to offer advice. And this is extremely helpful because quite a lot of the time it's difficult for us to know the underlying, in a sense, irritation or uncertainty or anxiety behind the question. For example, am I on the right path? Put down some cards, and then there will be a card illuminating what the underlying anxiety is, and then some advice cards over the top. Okay, so very quickly, here's the relationship spread. Person A, person B, the relationship. Okay, let's see. Person A's happy already. Person B maybe a bit selfish. And the relationship doesn't look like the guiding star that we should be working our way towards. These are clearly, these are hypothetical cases. If there's lots of people milling around, then we do 7 cards, don't we? So there we have past influences, present influences, future influences, environment, obstacles, probable outcome if we keep going in this direction, and advice. So we could have a look at these. Just hypothetical. Things are going quite well. Advice, be enterprising. Environment's a bit unstable. Obstacles, someone sulking. And then we can see maybe some family members lurking around here, and some causes and some results here. Okay, if choosing between 2 options, we could have option A, option B. Let's have a look. Option A, 2 7s, bit tricky. Option B, bit of support, stronger position. Finally, the reliable fallback is what's the underlying issue? And let's have 3 advice cards. How can we go about this? What's the advice of the universe? So hypothetically, the underlying issue might be that we want to stop struggling. And the advice, okay, hold things in balance, then go with the flow and don't be too self-sufficient. Something like that. But whatever your personal favourite spreads are, have them ready and waiting and you'll be fine. So those were my thoughts about how to answer yes/no questions. The basic advice is don't. It's not worth it. It doesn't make anyone happier. And I don't really think it's what tarot is for. And then on top of that, it's just a matter of learning tact. And I think tact is a huge amount of the tarot reader's practice. It takes a while to develop your own script, I suppose, to keep things tactful and keep things feeling safe and helpful for the client. But with time, you will find the right words, and I think at the end of the day, everyone will be happier that you didn't just say yes or no. That's all from me. I'm Robert Farah. This is Tea and Tarot, and I'll be back next week with more of this stuff. Bye for now.